Okay, and we're live. Thank you for coming back to Educators Drinking Coffee. I'm your host, Juan Castillo. Before I kind of get fully loaded, let me just double check, make sure we are broadcasting in our Facebook page. So let me see. It looks like not quite yet. So let me make it public. We should be good now on Facebook Live. Very good. So let me make it public. Okay. We should be good now. On. Very good. Okay. Looks like we are streaming. Actually, today I'm trying to also stream live on our school Facebook page. So welcome again to Educators Drinking Coffee. It's a beautiful morning. It's about 60 degrees. I'm looking at my clock here in the Outer Banks. What an eventful weekend with Mother's Day. So happy belated Mother's Day to everybody out there, or other mothers. It's been a trying time. So I think we need to appreciate Mother's Day even more. Here in my household, aside from Mother's Day, we also had one of my daughter's birthday. So it was a crazy weekend, all falling on the same day, May 10th. So really enjoyed it. Had a great time to reflect. And good. I want to make sure you all, as you stop by, make sure you kind of wave, make comments. I really want to try to make sure we kind of engage a little bit more. So please put any comments. I'll answer any questions I can, and we'll go from there. And if you're interested in coming in the mornings with me, please do so. Let me know, message me, and we'll set it up. I have a couple interviews set up for this week, so I'm excited about that. I want to hear what you guys are doing to have your classes, to continue to grow your classes, what you're planning to do for next year, some of the great things you have done. So that'll be awesome. So continue with that. Today's coffee, even though you can't see it, sorry, my bad. It's still Café Sello Rojo. This coffee is not quite the same as last week's. Last week's had a hint of mocha. This one has a hint of vanilla. And again, Café Sello Rojo comes from the Andes, the mountain range. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, the most popular coffee sold in Colombia. So it is available here. Actually, I just found out today they actually sell it on Amazon, and they actually sell K-cups for it. I've never tried it, but it will be interesting. Good morning, Mom. Feliz Día de Madre. Un poquitico tarde. So yeah, it's great and soft. Coffee, very, just very smooth. It's just a very delightful, and the smell of coffee, I think no matter if you're not a coffee drinker, it really just has a great aroma to that. So today I want to get some comments, hopefully, from some of you. Hey, Miss Wilkerson, you haven't had a cup of coffee. That's okay. We all still manage to function. You're right, but I appreciate you stopping by this morning. And saying hello. She is one of my teachers that I currently work with, EC teacher. May want to get an EC teacher's perspective on how things are going here during this pandemic. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about just teacher burnout. And I want you to kind of just share your thoughts about, some of the things you guys are going through, what you're doing to kind of combat that, and all those kind of things. Hey, Ms. Kennedy, thank you for stopping by. So let me know a little bit about how you're dealing with this, because we're all under, tremendous stress, and we have different ways to combat that. I guess I want to first just talk about, how I've dealt with it, and I've talked a little bit about this in some of my other shows. For me, I've kind of, my day's just been a blur. There really isn't a separation between work, home, fun, and probably And it's late, but it hasn't been until the last couple of weeks, and really since I started this broadcast, that that I really started separating my day. I have my first early morning. I get up around 5:30. That's my time, and it also is my time to kind of get ready for the show or the broadcast. Um, and then there is this broadcast that I do for about half hour, and then soon after this is done, it gears me up to about usually by 8, 9 o'clock. My schoolwork comes in, and it's all the way till about 3 o'clock. There's a few things that kind of happen there after that, but that's how I've separated. Middle late afternoon, that's with family, my daughters and stuff, and then at night it's pretty much just kind of relaxing, watching the TV with my wife and so on, and then try to get my sleep. So that's how I've done to help me not get burnt out. Too, Ms. Kennedy says she's noticed that students burn out. Not just, you're right. I mean, kids are burnt out. The past weeks, work for students have been less and less. You're right. The students' work, this is new for the kids. And I think of my little daughter last week, and I want to thank her again, Genevieve, for giving her perspective from a third grader. But, she said the number one excuse for not going to school was being sick, but now there's no excuse. We're at home just to be home. But I think kids like from time to time be able to stay home, not go to work. But I think now that they're home 24/7, they are getting burnt out. And I think in part because, and tell me your thoughts on this, since the work at home is not as structured as it is at school, with 8 o'clock the bell, and then maybe at 9:30, 9:45 you have the next bell. I'm talking about high school and things, but even in elementary levels, kids know when the change of content or subject matter or to another class comes, and that's a routine. And our kids are not yet, I don't want to say they're fully capable, but they really struggle with organization and to organize their day into segments. And I think that's what's making their days longer. And it goes back to what Miss Kennedy's saying, is kids are getting burnt out just like teachers. And I think we as teachers are also getting burnt out because we're not separating our day. And that's extremely important. And I think it's also, days are longer because the way we are trying to manage, the way we're trying to conduct our class is different. And when you're trying something new, you just go a little bit slower. As time goes on, you figure out ways to do things a little faster and cut time down. But in the meantime, this is all new. It just takes a little longer. You're right. And Ms. Kennedy talks about the routine. Kids thrive. Kids want routine. Kids want discipline. They want it with respect, but they do want it. So I'm just kind of reading some of my notes here. I'm trying to do Facebook Live on 2 different websites, so that's why I'm trying to go back and forth, and I apologize. But yeah, I mean, and parents are right along. I mean, they didn't realize. I think parents are really realizing now that it's a lot of work, and it's amazing the job teachers do to educate your child, to have them learn, and the expectations. I saw I guess I don't know if it was on Facebook or whatever it is, a car that said, a parent's, I guess, vehicle says, "You lied to me. You said my child was a pleasure to teach." And I guess they're saying that they've realized that it's not that easy to be a teacher, and it's so true. Some people want to say we're babysitters, and so far from it. We say pay us like a babysitter. I can tell you that if you pay teachers per child babysitting, teachers were making a lot more money. But anyways, yeah, burnout goes for everyone. I mean, for teachers, for students, for parents, even as an administrator, we get frustrated. Like I said, burnout is the same thing. I mean, maybe it's not. It definitely is not to the level of the teacher, because you guys are in the trenches. But there is a level of burnout. We're coming up here to the middle of May. We know normally We have about a month left of school, and so everybody's kind of gearing up. And the reality is we even have less because the last 10 days tend to be 5-10 days tend to be getting exams going. So everybody kind of, I guess we have that internal clock that knows that school's wrapping up, and when we see the light at the end of the tunnel, we just kind of want to just get there. So it's tough not to feel burned out, not to feel tired, not to feel overwhelmed. But the main thing I guess I'm trying to say is reclaim your routines. We all had routines, whether no matter how unstructured or how specific they were. Some people have been, exercising. They usually have their routine with exercise before they go to work. They do, they go to work, after work, they go to the gym, things like that. The way you eat. So you got to try to reclaim those routines. It's going to give you a sense of normalcy that you want to try to make sure you have. So trying to reclaim that. And also, I guess, and I've mentioned this before, but just kind of saying specifically is separating school from home. How do you all do it? I'm in a household of both me and my wife are school administrators. We have 2 kids that are in school. And, we actually go to separate rooms. My daughters work in each of their rooms. I'm doing this in the morning, but for the most part, this is where I have my meetings with my administrative meetings, my PLC meetings. And my wife goes upstairs to our guest room and she does her meetings. It is hard, Mr. Stanley. Mr. Stanley stopping by. Actually, I'm going to have Mr. Stanley in hopefully this week. Well, a little one of my topics for discussions. We'll figure that one out, but hopefully we can make it happen, Mr. Stanley. That would be great. And I want to make sure I don't want to talk too much about this past Saturday, what you and your department did, but I want to save that discussion for when you're on here. So, trying to separate that. It's very hard. Thursday sounds good. All right. We got Mr. Stanley. We kind of put the pressure on him. So Thursday, he will be here and we'll talk education. He is our band director at my school. And so we'll talk about the band, his hopes, what he's doing to gear up and all those kind of things. So it's hard. It's and like I said, I have 2 kids. One just turned 14. The other's 8 years old. Is going to be 9 years old. And I can't imagine, just if we didn't have more of a routine, how crazy this household would be. I do have my mother-in-law, which helps us tremendously. We have 2 dogs. So right now she does a tremendous job between 8:30 and 9 to keep the dogs from kind of barking and stuff. Once in a while you may hear them, but she does an amazing job to help me kind of do this broadcast. So I have a lot of support to separate, and I don't know if all of you have that. So I'm blessed with that. Ms. Kennedy says, yeah, it's hard to separate. I found out I'm not an elementary teacher. Yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you this. Those of you, Ms. Kennedy, you and I have worked together at high school, Green Central High School. And a lot of majority of my career has been at the high school level. But elementary teachers, they know about having your day kind of be in one mesh, because when their day starts, they're with their kids, and at times they are the primary teacher for English, math, social studies, science, and in times they can also be the PE teacher, they can be the music teacher, they can be the art teacher, and when it comes to lunch, they have to sit with their kids, so they don't get that break. So their break really comes at the end of the day at 3 or 4 o'clock, and if I know an elementary teacher, they work their butt off once the bell rings too. So, and it's good morning, Mr. Navarro. Thank you for joining us today. We're here talking about reclaiming our routines to try to avoid burnout. So Ms. Kennedy's been sharing with us. Going fishing. That's nice. It must be nice, I'm sure. But let me I guess ask Mr. Navarro is a fisherman, and I'll ask him a question. I am drinking again. This is Café Sello Rojo. It's not the same as last week. Last week's had a hint of mocha. This one has a hint of vanilla. I'm not a huge flavored coffee, but I have so much of this that I'm drinking it. It actually was brought to me by my friend Camilo, and it's really good. Today we're talking about trying to avoid burnout, and in your field of industry, how do you, since all you, maybe now you have a little bit more time, but when you're in the middle of it and you're fish, how do you avoid just being fed up, like I've just about had enough, I need to leave this for a while, or you love it that much that really it doesn't? And so I'm trying to see what you all do. It's early in the morning, so but yeah, just trying to reclaim your routines, separate work from school, and then for teachers, the other part that's going to help you, because one of the biggest things. Hey, good morning, Connie. Thank you. It's pretty early. What time is it? Where are you? Where you're from? Is it about 6 o'clock? So I appreciate you joining us this early. For teachers to team up with parents, it'll make your job easier. And it happens with face-to-face. Same thing with online. Connie, any of you? Actually, just so you know, most Colombians, this is actually like a large cup of coffee. 5:15. Man, Connie, that's quite early. So, but I wanted to kind of just tell you, this is, I would say, a typical cup of coffee filled up about 3/4 of the way. I don't know how many ounces that would be, but this is what, when you go to Colombia and you ask for a cup of coffee, you may get this, and this is probably a large. Here in America, this is way too much. So if anything, what I do is just kind of drink it from here, but I'll end up drinking a little bit of that. It's and I like it. I like the first cup of coffee to be kind of black in the mornings with definitely my sugar. I know I have sugar issues, but I still got to have it. It's the one time of the day where I do put sugar. But for teachers, going back to, make sure you really team up with parents. That's going to help you. There's no such thing as too much coffee. I would tell you this. There is, probably about 7 years ago. And when I was in Greene County, and we first got a Keurig, and me and my wife went crazy drinking coffee. I tell you, I remember it was in December, and I started feeling like my heart was kind of beating, and it was like beating like offbeat, if that kind of makes sense, to the point where I'm like, this is kind of weird. I went to the doctor. That's actually when I discovered I had sugar levels issues, pre-diabetic. So I will say, for my part, there can be too much too much coffee. So I stick to probably just mornings. Sometimes in late evenings, I'll have another one. Cuban coffee will definitely, if I take a couple Cuban, a Cuban coffee is like less than half the size of this. Well, it depends. If you're talking about café con leche, is a different story. But if you're talking about black coffee, yeah, and that is super, super, super strong. They sell something, I don't know if it's Cuban or not, something called cortadito, and it's like an espresso. It's like really a shot. I mean, it is a bolt of lightning, I guess, like Doc would say, a bolt of lightning. But yeah, it's there's all kinds. I really want to try to figure out. From right now, I'm kind of tied down to drink different types. We have an espresso machine. I want to try to drink some of that. Let me see what some of the people here are saying. Miss Trinica White, one of my current students, stopping by. Good morning, Trinica. Trinica is one of my students that brings me coffee every morning. She knows exactly how I like it. Now, when she brings it to me at school, she does give it a little bit of cream with it. She knows to put French vanilla, but that's when I like having it with black with some creamer. But let's see, Miss Kennedy didn't drink until my second year at Green Central. Can't live without it now. Yeah, it's when you there's other stuff that teachers drink too, just so you know. It just comes out usually after 4 o'clock. But yeah, it's fun times, and I mean all this goes to even hey, Mr. Harold, thank you for stopping by. Consider this your meeting at the P this morning. But yeah, it's your way to separate yourself from school. Another one that says never too much coffee. Espresso makes life happen. I have to keep patients alive all day. I hear you, Connie, and bless you. Make sure you be safe. She does. She is in the healthcare business, so she is in the front line. So, dear friend of mine. But yeah, just creating those times for yourself, and it's a little harder now. I tell you, at school, what we have, and I know this sounds a little weird, but we do have something called Happy Hour on Fridays, and it's virtually, and we have trivia, and we all have, at home, and we have our basic drinks we have, and we have just a good time, really. And we had one this past Friday, and I think we've had the same. Mr. Cofield kind of, I don't know if he won Fridays, but the overall he's won. I don't understand how the standings go, but it was fun. It was fun. I finished, I think, 13th out of 20 something. So not very good. But again, it's those little things that really separate it. The weekend before, I had a virtual, like going out with my old friends from high school, and that was really fun. And we did it from about 9 to midnight, and that was wonderful break from the norm. Ms. Kennedy says, I think the biggest thing is that burnout for her is seeing all the other stuff others are doing and feeling like not doing enough. Yeah, the comparison game. I hear you, and you can't blame yourself. You realize that everybody's at different levels with this remote learning. I'll give you, and I talk, I guess, bad, but not bad, but sometimes about my examples. I was a teacher for 10 years. Then I decided to become an administrator. There's administrators that only taught for 4 years. And my initial thinking of that was they haven't been in the classroom long enough. And some people may feel that way. And I felt that way. But I ran into some really, really good administrators that had not been in the classroom, even more than 4 years. I went to school with some folks that hadn't been in the classroom for more than 4 years. And they are outstanding administrators. So I started saying, I can't blame them for the fact that it took me 10 years to feel comfortable enough to move on to the next level. So Ms. Kennedy, I will tell you is, you go at your pace, do what you do and do it well. And your kids are going to be better off for it. Thank you, Miss Lane, for stopping by. I know it's a little late. Warm milk. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Warm milk is good. Warm milk is good. That was given to me and my brother to go to sleep at times when we were kids, but not a big fan of warm milk in the mornings. I like cold milk with chocolate chip cookies, if any of you know who I am. Good morning, Miss Meads, for stopping by. But yeah, it's I forgot what I was even talking about, but yeah, don't compare yourself to others, Ms. Kennedy. This is it's brand new to everybody. I would tell you is use the resources you have, use your colleagues. If you see something that somebody's doing that you like and you have a way of communicating with them, reach out to them, see how you can incorporate it. But I would stick to about 2, maybe 3 things to do and do it well. Don't go and adding more stuff because it kind of just, you want to be able to be like the guru of whatever platform or system you're using for your kids. So when you stumble onto something, you can quickly fix it. But when you're trying a new platform, and sometimes you're trial and error, and you don't want to do that. I would say in front of the kids, you want to make sure you exude some sort of confidence in what you're using. So kids they're like animals; they can smell fear. So make sure you do that. One other thing I guess I wanted to say about trying, this is all about teacher burnout. And let me see, half calf. Let's see, oh, Miss Wilkerson, I drink half calf and a lot of it. So, I know a lot of folks also like Mountain Dew in the mornings. I know I've worked with some folks. Lee, I think, back in Greene County, drinks Mountain Dew. It's her drink of choice. But there's times where I do find myself, I need a boost of caffeine. So I don't drink the coffee for the boost of caffeine, to be honest with you. At times when I do drink my coffee, I will drink one before I go to bed, 10 minutes before, and it has no effect on me. My wife, if she drinks one, she will be up for hours. So, I've grown up with it. Not always has been black though. But yeah. So the last thing I just want to make sure, and I alluded to this a little bit, was to find your space at your house. Let me see. Somebody here at Pasquotank High School, they get more points the faster they answer it if they get right co-field answers. Oh, okay, I see. That's what the post is about, like our trivia that we're playing. So the faster they answer, the more points they get. So that's why he kind of there was a little debate afterwards whether to not be able to not to read the question out loud, just post it and people answer accordingly. So I would say there's a lot of Harry Potter questions, which are great. It's just not, I like Harry Potter, but I don't know exactly much about Harry Potter. So I have to be honest, I kind of had my 13-year-old who's a big Harry Potter fan next to me. I'm like, don't stand in the line of vision so they don't see you, but I'm going to ask you these questions. So the answers I did get right were probably mostly because of the Harry Potter questions she helped me answer. So, hey, you got to use resources. It's not cheating. It's just using your resources. So find your happy spot and separate them. Like I said, I have this here in the mornings, and this is mine. My wife and mother-in-law, my daughters, they know to avoid this at all costs. And then when I work, I'm also in here. But, interruptions are a little bit more loud because, in case we have an emergency or anything like that. So find those spots. Or maybe it's taking a walk in your neighborhood. That's your time. That's your time to be alone, your time to relax, to reclaim yourself, do those kind of things. And just know that you're doing the best that you can, and don't kill yourself over it. I'm glad some of you feel like I'm not doing enough. Or, you're struggling because my kids aren't showing up. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to engage them. To me, at least, that shows you care. So that's, to me, that's the right formula. We just got to keep working on trying to figure this out. So, keep working hard. But there's a time for work. There's a time for play. It's just like a mullet, it's all business here and it's party in the back. And I guess for me now, there's no party in the back so much, but there's solitude that back here with all the baldness I have in the back of my head. But, create definite spaces, like I said, the mullet, it's all here, separated here for the business, and have time for the party. Enjoy the time that you're with your family. Make those conference calls with family members. That's another thing that'll keep you going. And like I said, me and my friends who did that kind of virtual party thing, not this past Saturday, but the one before, we're planning another one this Saturday. So I'm super excited about that one. It's something to look forward to. So plan them out. The one we did the week before was kind of just out of the blue. I started thinking about it in the morning, and plan them so you have something to look forward to. I think that'll also be good. So take care. Let me see a couple here. Mr. Wilker says that the taste is why she drinks it, and I agree. I wouldn't drink something I don't like. That's why I don't drink black coffee with no sugar. It's just like tea with no sugar. That's just me. So, anyways, I'm getting kind of close here to finish ending the broadcast. But again, I love some of you engaging here. Make sure you kind of, I appreciate the comments. Hit any like button, wow button, heart button. I appreciate it. Also, I am on YouTube, or this does broadcast on YouTube. So subscribe if you can. It's a school kind of format that we're doing here. This is Educators Drinking Coffee. Email me, text me if you have my number, or if you want my number, let me know. I'll give it to you. And we can set up to have an interview here. I would love to, again, get your perspectives. This is just my perspectives here, so I really want to make sure I get your all's thoughts on how you're doing during these times. So once again, this is Educators Drinking Coffee, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.